What if I told you we scaled a $997 offer into almost a $500,000 with just a weekly webinar? They didn't have the best funnel and they didn't even have retargeting at first, but we were still able to crack the code, and this is exactly how we were able to do it. But what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is Marketing with Dev. Make sure you guys give me a like, comment, subscribe, and hit those bell notifications so you can be notified when I drop new videos just like this one. And if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur and you want to learn how you can generate more leads and sales on autopilot with your Facebook ads, then what you need to do is click the link in the description and schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. I'll analyze your entire ad account and show you exactly what you need to do to get your ads on the right direction to start generating leads and sales on autopilot 24/7, even while you're sleeping. But with that out of the way, let's get back into the video. So when I first took this client on, they were spending about $150 to $200 a day, and they were using the same creative, and they weren't even doing any retargeting yet. So they weren't even truly aware how much money they were losing by not knowing how to do retargeting. And their ads were doing okay. They had a pretty good webinar, but they weren't truly maximizing it because there were so many flaws in their process that they weren't even aware of yet. So they were running their webinars weekly, and on any given week, they were getting about 300 to 500 people to register, which is not too bad. But they only had one question. And that question was, how can they scale these weekly webinars up to the point where they're making far more than they're making right now? And that is exactly what I helped them do. So in the rest of this video, I will be going over step by step the different aspects of the campaigns and the landing pages and things like that we tweaked to help get the result that we got, which was almost $500,000 in core sales in under a year. So the first thing we did is market research. And not just the little dilly-dally market research you might be used to, but an actual deep search into the actual type of client or customer that we were looking to help serve. So this is a super important part of business and advertising and marketing in general that most people skip. And if you skip this, it makes it very hard to create campaigns that are going to attract your ideal clients, because if you don't even know what they want, or if you don't know what they like, or if you don't know what makes them tick and things like that, it's going to be very hard to sell to these people, right? The more you know about someone, the easier it is to sell to them. So it would behoove you to learn as much as possible about the type of person you're trying to sell, so you can give yourself an easier time actually trying to sell these people products and services. Just think about it. Maybe you have a wife or girlfriend or husband or a boyfriend. There's certain types of ways you can ask them that might get you a better result than somebody else who doesn't know how to ask them in that specific way, right? And you know this because you've been with this person for so long. You know their habits, you know their tendencies, their quirks, and things like that. So it's the same thing when we're talking about market research with your clients and your customers. You have to get to know them so well that you know what they like, you know what they dislike, you know how they talk, you know their slang and things like that. Understand that all the money you want are in the wallets and the bank accounts of other people, right? So you need to understand these people so you can best persuade these people to open up their wallets and get their credit cards and to pay you, right? Why should they pay you if you don't even think it's important enough to get to know these people? You want their money, but you don't think it's important enough to even know who they are. It's kind of rude and impolite to ask for money and you don't even want to get to know who the person is, right? So think about it from that perspective. So we dove deep into their ideal customer, their pain points, what they need, what they like, what they don't like, and we extracted every possible piece of information that we can find. Now, this information helps us do so many different things. So it helps us create better hooks, better angles, better copy, better creative in general, helps us write better landing page copy, headlines. It literally helps us create better everything when we know who our ideal client or who our ideal customer is, right? It's very important that we have this ideal customer or persona or avatar, whatever it's called. A lot of people call it different things, but it all means the same thing. We need to make sure that we have this so dialed in that we know the exact type of person that we're looking for. Now, it doesn't mean that if they're not this exact type of person that we can't help them, but in our ads and our marketing, we are speaking to this type of person because we believe we can get this type of person the best results. So it's very important that we are doing that. And I'll show you guys how to do a quick market research hack right now so you guys can start making more sales immediately. So to do market research with Reddit is very simple. So all you have to do is go to Google and type in your ideal client's pain point and then followed by Reddit. So let's say I'm selling a hair growth oil. The main pain point would be a woman's hair not growing, right? So we put in woman's hair not growing, Reddit. So now we see some of these Reddit links and we're just going to look through the titles and we're going to click on. So can some people just not grow hair long? my hair hasn't been able to grow past a certain length. Did anyone else's hair just stop growing? Why won't my hair grow? All of these different links and all of these different spaces have different users who just talk about these problems that they're facing. So this is literally a gold mine for people who have your problem, because they all just come here and congregate and talk about the problems that they have, the solutions they tried, and things like that. So it gives you a lot of ammo to use. So what you're going to do is go through these posts, and then you're also going to read the replies and the comments as well. And you're going to see so many good different things, right? You're going to see literally what the people are trying. And these are literally actually people who are in your, your ideal customer avatar range and things like that. These are the actual people that you will be selling products and services to. And they're telling you what they're going through. They're telling you their problems and all of those things. And they're literally telling you the language they use as well. So you're going to go through all of this. You're going to take the language that they use, and you're going to start to integrate that into your copy and all of your videos and your things like that, because you want to speak the language of your ideal clients and your customers. So go through Reddit, make sure you're doing this, go through the different links. Like, there's a bunch of different links here. Like, there's a bunch of different women who are in here just telling you all of the problems they're having with their hair not growing past a certain length and things like that. So this is so much free, valuable information we could just go through, and it makes our marketing 10 times better. This is a secret that pretty much no business owner that I work with uses. This is always something new that I teach them when I implement this into their market research process, and they always love it. So make sure you guys are using it and using it well. So next up, let's talk about the creatives. So they had a bunch of creatives that I had to sift through. So I spent days going through different creatives that they had, whether that be, things that they posted on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, or YouTube, or maybe it was, some clips from different podcasts, because they did have a ton of content. So, and I actually like the fact that they had a lot of content, because it gave us a lot of options to choose from and different angles to attack from, right? So it's a lot harder when you don't have creatives, because in my experience, creatives are the life force of your campaigns, right? The more creative you have available to test, the better, right? So it's easy to find winning audiences, but it's much harder to find winning creatives. And that's why, in my opinion, you should emphasize creatives more so any other component of your Facebook ad campaign. Now, don't get carried away. That doesn't mean ignore any other parts of your campaign. But if you're going to spend more time in one place than the other, then I would recommend that place to be in your creatives, whether that be creating better hooks for your creatives, or just overall creating a better video, or if you're using an image, whatever the case may be. I would prioritize testing that, because in my experience, that is what gets the biggest and best results. So along with going through the content that they already had, we also scripted them some new videos as well that we can test, just to give us some contrast into and some different angles that we wanted to approach that they weren't already approaching. Now let's talk about retargeting. So they had a hidden gold mine and they didn't even know it. So because they were running ads for a while, they had a lot of warm traffic just waiting and begging to be tapped into, but they just didn't know that they were supposed to do that. So when we came in, that's immediately what we started to do. In most cases, we have to wait a while to actually build up that audience. If the account is fresh and they never ran ads before, you have to run the ads for a while to build up that warm audience. But since these guys were already running ads, the warm audience was already ready to go. All I had to do was create those custom audiences. So we built segmented custom audiences, like 25%, 50%, and 95% video viewers of our ads. We also built some for our landing page visitors. We also created segments for people who bought the course, people who visited specific pages inside of the funnel, and things like that. So we created many, many different segmented custom audiences for us to be able to retarget. And I would recommend you guys all do the same thing when it comes to running your ads, because it's not enough to just show your ad to somebody one time. On average, you need about 7 touch points before somebody decides to do business with you or not. So it's important that after they see your initial prospecting campaign or your campaign that's going to cold traffic, it's very important that you provide additional touch points in the form of retargeting ads, emails, and even text messages as well. And while we were working on this account, we spent anywhere between 15 to 30% on retargeting campaigns. And it really just depends on the momentum of the campaign at any given moment. The slide between 15 and 30. So depending on what's going on, we'll spend anywhere between that range. Implementing these retargeting campaigns really helped drive conversion rates up due to these additional touch points that they were now receiving. And on the back end, after they registered for this weekly webinar, they were entered into an email sequence and also a text sequence, right? So we're trying to get as many touch points as we can as quickly as possible, right? Because out of sight, out of mind, we have to remember that people are not on Facebook to see our ads, right? So if we are going to interrupt them, then we need to make sure that we move the process as quickly as possible. So we want to take somebody from seeing our ad to inside of our funnel as quickly as possible. So we do that by getting as many touch points as we can. And this step is definitely going to be crucial to get as many people as possible to show up to the webinar. If you've been running webinars, then you know that getting people to register for the webinar and getting people to attend that said webinar are two completely different stories. So it's very important that we have everything set up that we can to help get as many registers to actually attend. So if you get anywhere between 20 to 25% of all the people that register to actually show up, then you're actually doing pretty good, right? So this is why it's very important to try to get as many registrants as we can, because naturally there is going to be a steep drop off. Now let's talk about this one creative that really helped scale this campaign to the next level. So this was a simple creative, and if you watch my videos, it's something that I tell all of you guys to do. And this is one of the main reasons why. This was one of the main case studies in my life or in my advertising career that really solidified the fact that giving value is the best way to create advertisements, especially when you're giving them on social media, right? So all this video was a podcast clip of my client just showing them step by step how to start something and how to then fund it, right? So he was teaching them the steps to start a specific business, and then he was showing them how they can actually fund that business without using their own money at the same time, right? So this video did so well because they were actually learning something, right? So even if you didn't click the link and go and sign up for the webinar, just the fact that you sat through that minute and a half video and actually, watched it, you learned something. Your life is now better. You benefited from just actually watching it, regardless if you sign up for the webinar or not. And due to this fact, it led to this video getting shared like crazy and saved like crazy, and it kind of went viral as an ad, right? So we got so many additional views without having to pay for them because people were sharing it so much and saving it so much, right? So it's very important that when you're creating your ads, like I always say, make sure you're giving as much value as possible. Teach them something in your ad, so that way, whether they click your link or not, whether they buy from you or not, these people still got value from seeing you. So people loved that creative, and it did absolute wonders for us. It did so well that we actually were running that creative for over a year straight. Yes, over a year, we were running the same creative, getting amazing results. To keep it fresh, we would edit new text overlays so we can create so many different variations of the same video. But since there was different text overlays, it's kind of like its own new creative now, right? So we were able to do that, and that scaled it even more because now we have the same creative that has been validated that we know work, but now we are able to tweak the copy that was on the screen to kind of target different segments of the market. So this helped us a lot as well. And after I actually looked back, we spent over 100K on that creative alone, right? So that's a lot of money to invest into one single creative, but it's because it worked so well for us. That was our main creative that we were running to cold traffic and a lot to our retargeting as well. Because like I said, we were able to change that text overlay on the screen that helped us segment different areas of the market. And like I said, the secret sauce is that the ad gave value, right? That's the hidden gem. That's the secret, right? Nobody wants to give away stuff for free. And that's what is going to make you stand out. That's what made us stand out. That's what made the client stand out, right? Because they were giving away such a valuable gem for free, for no obligation. That kind of value, most of the time, people have to give up their name and email first to be able to receive it. But no, he gave it away in the ad. And this is what stood out. And this is why the ad was able to have so much success. So now let's talk about the landing page. So I noticed that there was a drop off between the amount of link clicks we were getting and people going to the landing page to the amount of people that were actually registering. And then I started to realize that the copy that they originally had did not necessarily go deep enough into the benefits of registering. So initially, we were only working on the Facebook ads campaign, but after we noticed this problem, we started to work on their landing pages and their opt-in pages as well. So the fact that we were getting a lot of link clicks and a lot of people visiting a landing page and not so much people registering that let me know that the problem was somewhere on the landing page. There was a disconnect. So we tested multiple different landing pages, with different headlines, different body copy, different pictures, a whole bunch of different variations until we found the right blend. And then the conversions finally started to jump again. But it's very important that you guys spend the time to not only test the components of your Facebook ads campaign, but you need to test your landing page as well, because our problem wasn't necessarily an ad problem. At least this specific one wasn't. I thought it might be at first, but when we dove deeper into the analytics and the data, we were able to see that no, people are liking the ad and people are clicking the ad, but when they're getting to the landing page, they're starting to drop off. So once we were able to identify that, we were able to fix the bleeding, right? But it's important that you guys are able to identify these things on your own. So testing can be a long and tedious process, but without it, you're just guessing and you're wasting your money. So now let's talk about their offer, or what it is they were selling, right? So they were selling a course plus coaching, and this course was helping them start and fund a specific business. So it was pretty unique because not only were they learning how to start and operate this business, but they were also learning how to get the funds necessary to actually start this business. So it was pretty cool and it was pretty unique. And like I said, it came with about 3 to 6 months of coaching, if I remember correctly. And I remember their coaching sessions were always super engaging and super informative, and they were always packed out, right? So imagine starting a new business, and then now you have a mentor that you can call at any time, that you can have to answer your questions when you inevitably get stuck along the way. So that is why I think that this offer converted so well, along with, a bunch of other different things that were done well. But coaching and having that support is definitely something that a lot of people are looking for. So now let's talk about testing. So if you're new to running Facebook ads, right, you've never run ads before, anything you run is going to be testing, right? Because you've never run ads before. So you're not going to know what works or what doesn't work because you don't have any reference. So 100% of your budget at this point would be testing. But after you've been running your ads for a while and you're a bit seasoned, then we want to allocate a specific set 10 to 20% of your budget to testing different things, whether that be new offers, whether that be new headlines, whether that be new copy, whatever the case may be. We want to set aside a specific set amount, anywhere between 10 and 20%, to allocate to only testing. So always remember this acronym ABT, and it stands for always be testing. So there is never a point in time when you're running ads when you're not testing, right? You should always be testing something, testing a new creative, testing new copy, testing a new headline, testing a new landing page, whatever the case may be. You should always be testing something because you don't know what's going to work the best, right? So you need to find what is going to work the best. And the only way you can do that is by testing multiple different things. But it's also important that you prioritize these tests as well, right? So you don't want to go crazy and just start testing everything for the sake of it. So in my experience, the creative is the most important part of this process. So I would lean towards more, testing more creatives, because in my experience, that is going to get you your biggest bang for your buck. I might have mentioned this earlier, but it's easier to find a new audience than it is to find, a winning creative. So I would spend more time testing creatives because that is going to give you your biggest return. Now, that doesn't mean neglect other things, but if you're going to prioritize one thing, I think in my experience that creatives would be that one thing you should prioritize, especially when it comes to testing. So listen, guys, ads are not magic, right? So we were able to have tremendous success and make almost $500,000 in sales selling an online course without having to leave their house or do anything, right? They were able to do that not because of magic or not because of some hack, but because there were a lot of different things that were dialed in and working properly, right? From their creatives to their landing page optimization, to their targeting, to their retargeting, right? So many different pieces, so many different parts of the puzzle that have to fit together for you to get success. And it's important that you understand this and you know this, that you're not just going to spend $5, spend $10 and get rich on your Facebook ads, right? This is a testing process, and a process it is. And if you need help with this process and you want to learn my process that I've used to help businesses generate over $10 million in sales since 2020, then click the link in the description and schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. I'll analyze your ad account and I'll show you exactly what you need to do to create a system that will help you generate leads and sales on autopilot 24/7. Right? So thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, give me a like, comment, subscribe, and hit those bell notifications so you can be notified when I drop new videos just like this one. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.